Hey, Timmy here with you, matchmaker, date coach, relationship coach, located in Kansas City. I had a client ask me the other day in one of our sessions. She said, how can I know if he's interested in me or not? Or how can I know if he's into me or not? And I want to reference something. I think that every woman, every person, everybody should watch this, but specifically those in a relationship, or pardon me, those that are single, looking to get into a relationship. There's a great movie called He's Just Not That Into You, or He's Just Not That Into Me, something like that title. And I'm forgetting who's even in the movie, but it is a fantastic movie and such a great movie to illustrate how we often will not pick up on cues of whether someone is interested or not interested in us. So, but this video in particular is about how to know if he is interested in you. I think it's quite simple. I mean, I think in my mind, when you text, he texts back. When you call and leave a message, he calls you back. Or when you call, he answers. He pursues you. He calls you first. He asks you questions. He asks you out on dates, right? Like, when someone's interested in you, they will pursue you. And I would say this it goes both ways. I remember back when I was single and in the dating game, there were times that I would show an interest in someone and I didn't feel that there was an interest back. And sometimes I'd have conversations and there'd be clarification and they'd say, well, I was interested in you. And I'm like, well, then why didn't you then why didn't you show or express that interest? I'm not one of those date coach guys that come on here and talk about playing games and, act like you're interested in her friend rather than her, and then all that fucking bullshit. I think that's bullshit. I think that's playing games. I think that's deceitful. I think it's not honest. I think that's all bullshit. I would say ignore all that shit. That might work for hookups and friends with benefit type shit, but that's not going to work in the real world. If you want to meet someone that's going to be your committed partner for life, you need to build that and begin that on truth and on honesty and on no secrets. So how can you know if he is interested in you? Clearly, he'll express interest in you. Now, like I said, you should also express interest in him too. If he texts, text back. If he calls, call back. Right? It's a tennis match. I love tennis. But dating is a tennis match. If I hit the ball to you, hit the fucking ball back to me. You know what I mean? So that's one of the things that led me to be with such a wonderful woman that I'm with today, married to just the most wonderful person in the world. But I'll never forget when we started dating. I pursued her big time, but she also showed an interest and an acceptance of my pursuit. Like, it wasn't like I was pursuing her as she was running away, right? Like, as I pursued her, she accepted that pursuit. And that's really, really important. So, is he asking you out on dates? Are you then going on dates? Does he follow up to ask you out on another date? To me, this is not brain surgery. It's pretty, and we all get caught up in it. And here's what I think it is. When we're super interested in someone, I think we get blinded, when we're kind of really into someone or we think someone's very attractive or we're just interested in someone for whatever reason. I think we get blinded, like love is blinding to reality, right? We get so caught up in how much we feel towards them that we ignore the glaring red, clear signs of them not being interested. And so I don't believe in chasing someone. I slightly believe in that, But I do not believe in playing hard to get. Now, you can play a little hard to get. I think a little hard to get's okay, but not where the person that's in pursuit is feeling like, I don't think they're interested in me. I mean, every time I call, they don't return my calls. Every time I text several questions, they respond with a 1 or 2 word answer. They're not engaging in any kind of back and forth dialogue. So, how can you know if someone's interested in you? It's as easy as, do they show an interest in you? Do they do things that people would do when they're interested? And I wrote a bunch of things down here that I felt were important. So let me just offer these up because I wrote these down and want to just share them with you. They listen. They listen to things that you say you like. They listen to conversations that you've had. Especially now, this gets into like when you're having dates with someone and you've been with them maybe a few months and you continue to date and have conversations, and then for your birthday they give you this special thoughtful gift that clearly in your mind you're like, oh my gosh, they've been listening to me. They listened to me say how much I liked this particular artist, and here they got me this, whatever, this thing that I really, really love. That's how you know if someone's also interested in you. Are they listening to you, the things that you say, right? Do their actions reflect that they're really listening? They open up about themselves. That's important. As you open up about yourself, they open up about themselves. And I've said this a million times. How do you know if they're interested in you? Well, if all they want is sex, then let me tell you something. They're interested in sex with you. That's all they're interested in. If all they are doing is trying to call you for late night booty calls, that's all they're interested in is booty calls. They're not interested in really getting to know you. They're just interested in your body. And so you got to be aware of that. And sometimes, again, men maybe do this too, but it seems like women will give into men's advances thinking that will get him to like her. It will not. It will not. It will not. It'll get him to be into you and to want you for sex, absolutely. But it won't get him to be interested in you for a lifelong committed relationship. If he's interested in you, he'll ask questions, he'll dig deep, and as well as reveal things about himself. He'll want to introduce you to his friends. He'll want to meet your friends. He'll want to meet your parents. He'll want you to meet his parents. All those things are signs that he's into you for real. All the signs that he's into you for sex will be booty calls, hookups. Okay, this isn't necessarily if they're into you, but this is a good trait to look for. Do they treat you well? That's hugely important. If not, in that relationship, clearly. Does he treat other people well? And not just does he treat you well, does he treat your family well, does he treat your friends well and his friends well, but does he treat people well that have nothing to do with him? And this is an age-old thing that you've heard probably many, many times from your parents. How do they treat the wait staff? How do they treat the hostess? How do they treat the grocery store clerk? How do they treat just people in general? How do they treat other people will give you a definite insight in how they'll treat you in the future. So how can you know if someone is into you? They will express interest in you and do all the things that I just talked about in the video. All right, guys, peace.